everyone, and welcome back to the Mogul Performance Podcast. This is the show where we don't just talk about leadership, we live it. My name is Evan, and today we're going to be getting real about something that leaders tend to avoid and hold with honor, and that is their own well-being. You can't lead if you don't take care of yourself. So we're going to drive that message home today. If you are anything like most high performers, like a mogul, you are used to pushing through more deadlines, more responsibilities. More people are counting on you, but here's the hard truth. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. And you can't lead yourself if you're not constantly running on fumes. So today, we're going to dive deeper into that mindset, talk about specific habits and boundaries that protect your capacity to lead and live at a level that you were designed for. So let's start here. In America, we tend to idolize burnout. Who's working the hardest? Who's putting in the most hours? And especially for a lot of those frontline jobs, the first responders putting in a lot of hours. Teachers and business owners putting in a lot of hours. Managers, leaders, executives putting in a lot of hours. We romanticize that. We think that doing more means that we're going to be gaining respect. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that got you here to where you are right now. But that won't take you to where you want to go as your responsibilities build up. You are only one person. We romanticize the no days off and wear exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. But ask yourself, who's really benefiting from your own self-neglect? Anybody? Think about your friends. Think about your family. Think about your family specifically. Are they benefiting from you being out working all hours of the day and the night? High performers and high performing leaders, they don't just drive hard. They place a focus and a priority on recovery. They build moments in their day and in their lives to reset. They set boundaries. They pay attention to how they are showing up. Not just that they are present. Their body is there, but they're not mentally there. They're not there with their heart. Resilience is not about gritting your teeth and just trying to survive. It's also about restoring your energy so you can lead with clarity, not just blunt force effort. So let's reframe leadership. Leadership is not about being available 24/7. It's not about sacrificing your sleep or your sanity. It is about building systems around your life that work for you, that allow you to keep showing up consistently and powerfully without falling apart. That is not only leadership, that is resilience. And what's the first sign of your leadership when it's slipping is you're not aware of how stressed you actually are. One of the most powerful tools that I use is a simple breathing technique when I notice that my stress is creeping up. It's 2 short breaths in, 1 long breath out, just like this. Repeat that 3, 4, 5 times. This method, by the way, was something that was mentioned on the Dr. Andrew Huberman podcast. It is called the psychological sigh. It helps your nervous system reset quickly. So when you don't have that much time, you only have 5 minutes to reset after a stressful meeting or a stressful time when you're leaving the home or coming back to the home. Try that out. 2 breaths in, 1 long breath out. And stress hits, just pause. Notice your body, detach from the situation. Let your body reset its rhythm. Because what happens when leaders don't pause is they end up reacting instead of reflecting. They end up defending instead of listening. They end up rushing instead of taking their time to strategize and to lead. Self-awareness is the root of all leadership. And it starts by checking in with yourself before you try to check in on others. You need to take care of yourself first, because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to take care of anyone else. So let me share some of the well-being practices that I personally use, and maybe some of these you can take home with your life. And this isn't a thing to brag about, but it's just show you what intentionality looks like in real life. We don't get to see a lot of times what it looks like when a high performer is doing something and what they're doing behind the scenes. So one of the things are our mornings are sacred. Those are defended times, early mornings. I block that time off for meditation, a workout, reading, and then a few moments to spend with my wife before I start the day to help set the mood. If that doesn't happen, if one of those things doesn't happen, that's okay. But if all those things don't happen, the day is it's just off. It's not there. I'm not reset for the morning. I'm not clear in my head. Second thing is, as I mentioned earlier, is exercise, doing that daily. It's not about just staying in shape. It's about the mental clarity that you get from it. Clears your mind. It helps you think about what you're getting yourself into in that day. And honestly, if you have a hard workout in that day, nothing else in that day is really going to be harder than what you did first thing in the morning. And that's why I always advocate to do these things in the morning. That is part of leadership preparation. Another thing is setting focus modes on my phone. So many people, I realize, do not set focus modes on their phones. Put different settings on your phone throughout the day. So for example, when I wake up, that is my fitness time, which I also include some meditation time in there as well. I don't get any notifications besides text from my wife, which she's not even going to be up at that time. The second mode after that is my work hours, my work mode. All my emails, all my notifications for work, those go to my phone between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then after that, there's a personal time or a wind down focus time, where that shuts down all of my work notifications, and then I only get personal notifications, and that would be specifically through text. I do not allow notifications coming from social media to my phone. There's already enough that is being sent to us through our phones. So it's just text messages from friends. Maybe the Netflix is open on my phone if I decide to watch it on my phone, but it's still locked down. And then there is a reading time, the last hour of my day, to read, to wind down, to reflect about the day. And then there is the do not disturb or the sleep mode. Nothing, absolutely nothing gets through my phone again besides messages from those who matter most to me in case of emergencies. And that's it. You block out the things in your life, because these phones, they will not set the boundaries for you. You need to set them. And also, you need to have the discipline to not bypass these boundaries. There's so many different apps and options that are out there. But at the end of the day, I truly believe you do not need to invest into an app. Just use the options that are on your phone, and then use that warning sign that pops up in your phone when you try to open up an application as a reminder that, no, this is for my well-being. Close the app, put the phone down, do something else. The next thing is having some sort of social rhythm in your life. So every week, I personally choose to go to a run club. I try to do it at least once a week. It's either on Tuesday or it's on Thursday. Sometimes it's on Wednesday if I can't make either of those days. It's not about the exercise for me doing those. It's about the socialization, being out with friends and other people who are like-minded, who are, quite frankly, getting after it and have bigger, more hairy, audacious goals than what I do in their running career and their running journey. But it's about being surrounded by those kind of people and socializing with them, because we are social creatures. Whether you are an introvert, there's still a social need that you have. And then there is sleep and food. I prioritize sleep, especially this year. This has been a big game-changing year ever since I turned 32. I've really tried to prioritize my sleep as part of recovery. If there's any performance-enhancing drug that you can take to be better at work, to be clearer in the head, to be a better runner, to be a better lifter, to be a better student, that is sleep. And we should stop prioritizing the lack thereof. Getting 4 hours of sleep one night here, one night there, that is understandable. But having that happen consistently over and over again is not something to wear as a badge of honor, because it's not helping you out. It is physiologically messing with your body. And then also the whole foods. Stick to whole foods where you can. This will energize you appropriately, and it won't cause a crash later on. If the ingredient list is long, ignore it. If it's short, consume it. If it comes in a wrapper, you should probably check the label. If not, then you're okay. And then there's also limiting alcohol or anything that disrupts my baseline. So let me talk about that. What is a baseline? The baseline is who we are at our natural state without any stimulants or anything like that. So caffeine can disrupt a baseline. Now, I do have caffeine, but I don't have a lot. That's the difference. Is some people are having 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine in a sitting, where I might be having 100 or less. And I don't exceed anything more than 200, where the recommendation is 400. It's not about the health aspect in that portion, but it's about maintaining a baseline, a sense of clarity. Alcohol, that also disrupts the baseline. Now, I for one, I enjoy having a beer, right? But I don't have these things during the week, because it doesn't do me any good, and it doesn't serve the people who I work with any good. If I'm showing up not the best I could be. Now, I'm not saying I'm showing up 100% every single day, because there's always other things that are in effect, but choosing not to imbibe, in my mind, helps me to help the people who I work with more, where I have much more mental clarity throughout that day. It's not, the week can be tough, but it's not about numbing that feeling. You can embrace that feeling, and you can use the practices that I talked about earlier. So it's understanding that we are here to build something. And then obviously, if you want to enjoy yourself when the time seems to fit, then go for it. And then lastly, there is setting audacious personal goals, something that stretches you beyond what your perceived limit is. There's something called a misogi. It's a Japanese philosophy where you do something once a year and you have a 50% chance of failing and you have a 50% chance of succeeding. I have two misogis that's set for this year. One of them has already failed and is on the path to failure. That's a part of the misogi. But setting a goal where you either fail or succeed, you learn from. If you make a goal and you succeed in that goal, that obviously boosts your motivation, and there's a strong feel-good hormone that happens after that. And if you fail, you learn from those things, and then you dust off your shoulders and you do it again and you try to make that goal. But at the end of the day, it makes you feel alive. So well-being, this isn't something that is soft, something that is woo-woo. It's strategic. These are not just regular routines. They're reinforcements for the behaviors that we want to expend towards others throughout our day and throughout our week. So here's a list of additional tools or tactics that you can use to explore based on your style. Take a micro break every 90 minutes. And some of you are saying, well, I got back-to-back meetings. 5 minutes. If you need to be 5 minutes late for a meeting, I think you're going to be okay. Step outside, take a breath, and then reset. Find a digital detox day. Maybe that's day on the weekends. Maybe that's Saturday. Maybe that's Sunday. Maybe that's a half day on Friday after you get done with work. And pick one day of the week to just completely disconnect. And I always challenge people to do just like a complete just digital reset in general, where you shut down, delete all your applications, and just do that for a week. But I honestly challenge you to do that for a month, and you will see the psychological garbage that we are exposed to every single day, and that clarifies your mind, and you will feel so much more clear in the head. You can also journal daily if you want to get your thoughts out. Just 5 minutes, a few words, a few sentences, and a paragraph. Just write what's on your mind. Get that out. Cold exposure. I've talked about this before, but having a cold shower or an ice plunge first thing in the morning is far better than having that 300 milligram cup of caffeine from your favorite cafe. It wakes you up fast and it sustains energy over time. And then gratitude check-ins. Start in the start of your day or at the end of your day with 3 things that you are thankful for. You can also use therapy or coaching. These aren't weaknesses. These are things that provide wisdom in our life. And then again, some sort of Sabbath mindset where you just take a day to rest where you can fully. So what happens when leaders don't do any of these things? All these things that we talked about, your decisions, they're going to get cloudy. Your communication, that gets reactive. Your vision becomes short, and your presence becomes absent. You start snapping at your team. You start missing key details. You start losing the creativity that you once had that set you apart from everyone else. You just became busy, and you're not effective anymore. And slowly you stop trusting you with yourself with more because you can't even manage your own output. This leadership starts with you. If you lead a business or a team or just your own career, your number one responsibility is this: manage your energy. Because if you don't manage your energy, nobody else will for you. Because your energy sets the tone. Your well-being is like your thermostat for your team. And if you burn out, guess who's burning out with you? So here's a challenge. What's one thing you're doing this week to protect your capacity? What boundary do you need to reestablish with yourself or with people around you? What practice do you need to commit to again? What's that thing that you used to do that really made you feel good that you want to bring back into your life? What is that? You can't just want to be great. You have to do the things it takes to be great. These little micro things that no one's ever talking about, these well-being activities. You have to create an environment mentally, emotionally, physically to make greatness sustainable. Because again, working ourselves to the bone is not a badge of honor. That may have gotten you to where you are today, but that will not carry you to where you want to be tomorrow. It's about being more strategic at that level. So that is going to wrap up the Mogul Performance Podcast for today. Thank you for tuning in. If this hit home, share it with a leader, share it with someone you care about. Take care of yourself because the way you lead starts with the way you live. And don't forget, be a mogul.